again with the smoke and more Bachelard, Chapter 2, Part 8. Alright, we're gonna go back to that last line that we read because it was just so good. Millers, who are wind thieves, make good flour from storms. Now to resituate. In the second tale in Fairies Intérieures, Saint Paul tells how he lived a peasant's life at the same time that he was lord of the Camere Manor. Never, perhaps, have the dialectics of cottage and manor been so simply or powerfully inverted here. Quote, as I stand riveted to the first steps of the perron by my hobnailed boots, I hesitate to emerge suddenly from my rustic chrysalis in the role of lord. And further on, page 362, he writes, my flexible nature adapts itself easily to this eagle's well-being, high above town and sea, a well-being in which my imagination loses no time conferring supremacy upon me over elements and persons, and soon, bound up in my egoism, I forget, upstart peasant that I am, that the original reason for the manor house was, through antithesis, to enable me to really see the cottage. This seems like such a flaw of, for lack of a better word, rich people. Where it's like, I'm gonna get in touch with the common man by doing something the common man does. And it's like, well, you're fetishizing the common man when you're doing that. So of course you're overthinking things. Maybe instead of buying a cottage with all your money, you should have gone out and chopped some wood instead and leased the land off someone else who actually has control. It's about like not having control. If you have all the control building the house, I would suppose you're building your own nightmare. That's just what I would think. But that's a negative thought. You can build a paradise too, but what does that become? I mean, if you look at the Taj Mahal, it's beautiful. Who lives there? The White House, not so beautiful anymore. Is it really a home? Or is it a symbol of whiteness? Okay, I'm getting a little much. But I think you know what I mean. Anyway, back to Bachelard. The chrysalis alone is an unmistakable indication that here two dreams are joined together. Okay, I have to be more patient. Dreams that both bespeak the repose and flight of being, evening's crystallization and wings that open to light. In the body of the winged manor, which dominates both town and sea, man and universe, he retained a cottage chrysalis in order to be able to hide alone in complete repose. Referring to the work of the Brazilian philosopher Lucio Alberto Pinheiro dos Santos, I once said that by examining the rhythms of life in detail, by ascending from the great rhythms forced upon us by the universe to the finer rhythms that play upon man's most exquisite sensibilities, it would be possible to work out a rhythm analysis. One word. It would be possible to work out a rhythm analysis that would tend to reconcile and lighten the ambivalences that psychoanalysts find in the disturbed psyche. That was a long sentence. Let's break that down. So what is he saying? He's saying that our most exquisite sensibilities, in conjuncture with the rhythms forced on us by the universe, it's a way of saying nature versus nurture, shows some beauty as opposed to some illness. Why not both? Well, it is both. But what if poets say is true? But if what poets say is true, alternating daydreams cease to be rivals. These two extreme realities of cottage and manor, to be found in the case of Sepulro, take into account our need for retreat and expansion, for simplicity and magnificence. For here we experience a rhythm analysis of the function of inhabiting. To sleep well, we do not need to sleep in a large room. To work well, we do not have to work in a den. But to dream of a poem, then to write it, we need both. It is the creative psyche that benefits from rhythm analysis. Okay. Thus the dream house must possess every virtue. Okay. However spacious, it must also be a cottage, a dovecote, a nest, a chrysalis. Intimacy needs the heart of a nest. Intimacy needs the heart of a nest. Erasmus, his biographer tells us, was long in finding a nook in his fine house in which he put his little body with safety. He ended by confining himself to one room until he could breathe the parched air that was necessary to him. Sounds like a great way to be a mummy. And how many dreamers look everywhere in their house or in their room for the garment that suits them? But I repeat, nest, chrysalis, and garment only constitute one moment of a dwelling place. The more concentrated the repose, the more hermetic the chrysalis, the more the being that emerges from it is a being from elsewhere, the greater is his expansion. And in my opinion, as the reader goes from one poet to the other, he is made more dynamic by his reader's imagination if he listens to Superville inviting the entire universe to come back into the house through all the wide open doors and windows. One more time. And in my opinion, as the reader goes from one poet to the other, he is made more dynamic by the reader's imagination if he listens to Superville, I don't know who that is, inviting the entire universe to come back into the house through all the wide open doors and windows. Porous. He had said this earlier, but porous, if we are being porous. Quote, I'll try the French. Tout ce qui fait le bois des rivières au l'air, à placer entre ces murs qui croyant fermer une chambre, accourez, cavaliers, qui traversent les mers. Je n'ai qu'un toit du ciel, vos aures de la palace. Okay, I probably butchered. All that makes the woods, the rivers, or the air has its place between these walls, which believe they close a room. Make haste, ye gentlemen, who ride across the seas. I've but one roof from heaven. There'll be room for you. Oh, I love this. It's a little forthright, but I love it. The house's welcome is so genuine that even what may be seen from the windows belongs to it. We'll try the French one more time. Le corps de la montagne hésité à ma fenêtre. Comment peut-on entrer si l'on est la montagne, si l'on est en voiture avec rochers caléos? On marche de la terre à l'étiré par le ciel. Okay. The body of the mountain hesitates before my window. How can one enter if one is the mountain? If one is tall, with boulders and stones, a piece of earth altered by sky. I love it. How can one enter if one is the mountain? If one is tall, with boulders and stones, a piece of earth altered by sky. When we have been made aware of a rhythm analysis by moving from a concentrated to an expanded house, the oscillations reverberate and grow louder. Like Supervielle, great dreamers possess. Like Supervielle, great dreamers profess intimacy with the world. They learned this intimacy, however, meditating on the house. I agree, and I like that. Okay, that's the end of part 8. Well, I hope you have a good day, and